All right, back again. Part two of me revisiting all my characters, my created characters from Soul Calibur 4. By the way, sorry if the audio sucks, but I'm talking in my PlayStation 5 controller. So I don't really care if you have a problem with it, but I'm just going to apologize anyways. If you're wondering, like, why does the audio suck? That's why. And it is what it is. Anyways, moving on to the next row of characters. We got Zeta. Here's another character. Now, I always like to try to make characters with helmets that don't exist in the game. Because I mean, you got to be honest. I mean, maybe you've never seen any of these helmets, but they're not always great. Oh wait, one thing. Sometimes you got shit on here that are they're kind of goofy. They're kind of too much. They're kind of over the top sometimes, Like it's pretty cool. That's one of the newer things for sure. But it's like, it doesn't cover up the whole face. You always have to try to, like, your best to cover up somebody's face entirely. They don't have, like, full helmets and shit, like, unless it's like this, Which, you could use that for some character. But, it's not always the character that you want to use it for, You need the full face mask. And, they're somewhat good. They're pretty good, but as you can see, there's nothing really in here that fully covers a character's face completely, a head completely, except for stuff like, this. And it's like, yeah, you have to be making a really specific type of character to want to use that, And so you have to be creative. That's where sometimes, people are. They can't be creative. That's why some of the custom characters freaking suck. So yeah. Wait, let me go back so she can get her helmet. Her original mask that I put her in. So here we go. We got Zeta. I wanted to give her a cool little spunky, spiffy, upbeat night type of vibe. She's got the cool, like, little textured dragon scale textures throughout her costume. Very simple, orange and black. These are Halloween colors. Orange and black is a very Halloween color, but it's really hard to make those colors not give Halloween vibes. And I think one of the main tricks is more black than orange, right? But I feel like this is not the most nuanced type of design, right? I didn't put a lot of effort into this. I just really want to. I got 68 characters. I've never filled up the roster. I never put 100 characters, right? And so, like, sometimes you just want to fill up the roster. This is the same for, like, wrestling games too. It's like I never, like, really get to, like, my maximum goal of, like, I want to be able to fill the roster, but I rather have the feeling of not being able to reach the limit of how many characters I can make than actually reaching it. Like, oh, you can make 10 creative characters. Like, that's easy. Done. I got too many ideas. Like, now I have to delete characters to make room for new characters. Oh, by the way, she has Gerald's fighting style because he was a guest character in this game. So she has, like, the 3 stores and shit. I started playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on hard mode, the first time ever playing any Witcher game, and I was having a lot of fun. I was like, this game is so cool. I heard good things about Witcher, but I didn't know that it was this awesome. It's especially for an older game. This was years ago. This was a couple of years ago, but then my PlayStation 4, all the data got erased, and I lost everything. I didn't save anything up to the cloud. Like, I'm playing this on PS5 because I have this saved onto my. I had this uploaded to the cloud, so I was able to download it to the cloud on the PS4. And it was one of the things that was already there, that was already uploaded to the cloud, so I was able to save. But I did lose a couple of characters that the last time it was uploaded, so I lost some of them. But I didn't lose my favorite character that I made, the one I was talking about in the first video. So That was the main thing. That was the main thing I cared about. When I saw that I still had this data, I was like, oh no, but I probably lost. And then I went in and I saw that she was still there. I was like, yes, thank God. I don't give a shit about anybody else who came after her. But because I spent hours on her. I came in, not this character. I'm talking about it like she's getting the spotlight stolen from her because she's like, you're talking shit about people that's not even in this freaking. It's my time to shine, and you're talking about other women, you know. Anyways, that other character, I spent a lot of hours. Like, when I say a lot of hours, I would say probably like 3 hours tops making her. I had the idea in my brain when I went in, and I wanted to pull it off so badly, and I did it. And I was like, and you know, it took a lot of different turns. I had to figure out what I was working with, but when I completed her, perfect. I was so happy. I was like, this is the best thing I ever made. This is the best. I know you're probably hyped to see her, or maybe you don't even give a shit. And why are you watching this anyways if you don't give a shit? But you know, we'll get to her eventually. But yeah, I like this. I really like this character, simple as she is. I think it's okay to make simple characters sometimes. You don't gotta, like, not every character you make has to be 3 hour long. I mean, that's creativity. I mean, if you want to spend that long on creating your characters, obviously you can. But, you know, keeping it simple and then doing, like, bold colors. I know, you know, it's cool to, like, do muted colors and shit like that. But sometimes I want to, like, I like to be like, let me use a very saturated version of a color and then also make it look good, you know? And whether or not this is to your taste, whether you can kind of debate whether or not this looks good or not, because maybe it's not to your taste, but I think creatively and as far as just completion of one concept and one costume, it's good. You can't say that this looks bad. This doesn't look bad. You might not like the bright orange, but it fits. It goes together, you know? What the fuck is that shit coming out of her cuffs? Like, I mean, don't be a jerk. Anyways, yeah, Zeta, there you go. Moving on. Sorry, I talked about somebody else mostly the entire time. Now, we got Yvonne here. Now, Yvonne is somebody that I can't really talk about because she is one of my personal characters that I created for one of my stories that I worked on for years. And yeah. Now, once again, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can look at her and like this costume is not her freaking look. This is her look in SOULCALIBURⅥ based off of me. Like, basically, this character is just inspired by one of my characters from my novel that I wrote. But she's like, the character in the novel looks like this to a very like minimal degree. You know, maybe her motif, her color scheme is the same shit, but that's about it. Like, this is limited. And honestly, this was early on when I started writing a story. This was early days of her character. Like, if I was to recreate her character now, she would look completely different from this. You know, I've even like having to go back in my story and rewrite scenes and stuff. I even went back and like gave her a much more fuller description of what she looked like and what she was wearing than I did when I originally wrote her and when I originally made this character. So like, I have a much clearer vision of what she actually looks like than what this character is trying to depict her as. Yeah, that's Yvonne. That's all I can say about her. And there's 2 more characters that I made from that same story that are in here that will have this. All that I just said about her applies to them as too. I'll tell you when I get to them. Now, this character you might recognize if you're cool. But also, I mean, like I said, I had limited ability to make characters, but this is Solel. I forgot how to say her name. She's from Fire Emblem Conquest. I played Conquest. It's Conquest Birthright. Fire Emblem Fates is what the overall title is. But this was my favorite character in there. I liked her. I thought she was great. This was my attempt at recreating her. She doesn't look like this. She looks like this a little. Like if I told you to go look up the Fire Emblem Fates characters and find the character I'm talking about, you would find her. This looks enough like her, and especially with her out. This is the closest somebody could get to making her. I'll take the pride and say that this is the closest you can get to making her. But if you looked her up, you would immediately be like, oh yeah, no, I get it. You know, this thing is the worst part of it, I think, because she has this big shoulder piece that's like, I think it's all gold in the actual game. I put these patterns on here in order to make it not look like a freaking turtle shell. That's what it is. But I think, you know, pretty cool though. Either way. You know. Good attempt. I don't like making real characters that much. It's kind of like, I feel like it's a waste of space. Granted, I never actually filled up my spaces, but I'm like, you know, I don't want to make. Get creative. Yeah. So that's her. Soleil. I think that's how you say her name. She's like, I think, kind of French inspired. Not her character fully, but just like kind of her look and her name. And so I don't think that the L is actually pronounced. You don't actually say it. Now this, I'm pretty sure I made this. Yeah, I think I definitely made this. But me and my brother decided one day, like, let's try to make humanoid versions of Pokemon in this game. And so this is supposed to be like my take on Staryu as like a humanoid, as far as like the limitations of what we have available in Soul Calibur. I think I like her. Like the chrome look, like I gave her like no eye, because Staryu doesn't have any actual face or anything. It's just a star. Staryu looks more like the thing on her belly. But I was like, yeah, this is Staryu. I think this is my interpretation of her. I really like how she looks. Definitely not a character that I like play with online really, but it's just like one of those fun things to do. Fun little challenges you have to give yourself sometimes. And then my brother did Absol, called her Absalon. This is his take on that Pokemon, which I really like it. I like how she came out. Really cool. Got the whole like little head thing that Absol is like famous for. Little moon. I forget what the things are called that Talon uses. But those are, yeah, it's pretty cool. I think he did a really good job with this. Didn't do too much, did just enough. Pretty good, I think. I don't know if we did another one. Did we do another one? Oh, okay. I don't remember this Pokemon. This is also another Pokemon. But I don't really, this is one of the newer gen Pokemon, and I have no idea what that Pokemon's name is off the top of my head. I can picture it, but I don't know what it is. But he did this one too. My brother did this one. I didn't do this. If I did, I would remember the name of the Pokemon. But she has a cool vibe though. Yeah, it looks like a spellcaster little Pokemon. This was one of the new characters from Soul Calibur game. Had like multiple weapons and stuff. Yeah, we won't spend too much time on her because I don't really know her. Now this is the second character now. I think I intentionally made them in a row like this. And the third one is going to be underneath her. There's a fourth one that's in the story, but I didn't make them in the game. So this is another character from that same story. And once again, like, she does not look like this at all. Like, I mean, there's aspects of her that look like this. There are aspects of the character that I can see where I was like trying to develop a look for her, but it was just like a Soul Calibur look for her, because it wouldn't be possible. I could get closer to she was also a character I went back and redesigned, like in the story, like I wrote a full description of her exact look. And she's basically not wearing any of this shit in her exact description. But I still like how she looks in this game. Give a little Sophitia look. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Hey. It's funny how you can like play games and not really ever forget how to do shit. Like I haven't played this game since what, 2018, 2019. I haven't even, and I haven't forgotten how to do the special. Probably forgot to do some of the moves and combos and stuff 100%, but the special sticks to the brain. Now this is one of the guys that I made based off of nobody, just a character I wanted to make, only because like I'm like, yo, this is like when I show out, right? And so this is me, you know, taking the effort to be like, I gotta make a cool ass character, and this is what ended up coming from that. Once again, it's pretty simple. It's not over the top, but you know, the expertise that I have in designing characters, or putting in the effort to make a character radiate a certain vibe, give a certain look like he has character, backstory, and a story and shit. Backstory and a story. Yeah. I mean, you know, you could be in a story and not have a backstory, but like, you know, like this looks like a guy, you know, maybe, you know. But my biggest flex on this was making this chest piece, the armor like that, you know, inspired kind of like by my brother using this same thing for Mercury. I'm like, let me freaking utilize this to give him a chest piece, like, and it looks good and it works good. It doesn't like if you played a game like this, you know, when you design characters in Soul Calibur like this, sometimes you put the floating piece, like it's a floating piece. So sometimes you put floating pieces on characters, and when they get to moving, all of a sudden the piece just doesn't work. It starts clipping through their skin or clipping through other parts of their body. And if you didn't like line it up perfectly or put it on a specific spot, like you could choose to like toggle it to the head, shoulders, knees or toes, their face, whatever. And if you don't put it right, it's not going to work. But this chest piece works perfectly. It works perfect. Like even the little clipping it does into the body and stuff, like regular characters' armor already does that because of like just the way the characters move in this game. So yeah, I really liked how he came out. He's freaking awesome. And I don't ever reference him. In any other game, I've never referenced him or made him or anything like that. But, you know, I like to play Age of Wonders, so these are characters I could potentially put in there. You know, Age of Wonders is very limited with character customization too, though. Yeah, I freaking love this guy's design. Edison. I don't know why I called him that, but that's his name. Here's Nolium. Now this is a character I wanted to have like a deity of like a tribalistic society's like deity come back to life. That was like the inspiration for her. And like I went to like the degree of like, okay, let me give her a kind of superiority, a laid back nature, a, you know, natural vibe. I went like all the necklaces, like it's like when you have these kind of deified entities, like there's always so many tributes and stuff that you know, people give in order to like, give favor or get favor from their god or whatever. And so like that's like the reason why I give her like this big, like cluttered chest area. Like this one necklace is like kind of one necklace by itself, right? But then I put these little straps on her, this little strap thing that kind of goes underneath her rib here. It's where that big circle middle part is, like that's part of that strap thing. And I put that there to make her neck even more cluttered. And choosing like the little chest piece with the little demon face there. Like I just wanted her chest to feel cluttered. And that's why the rest of her is pretty tame, right? Because when you design characters like this and you're doing this stuff, one of the things you gotta remember is balance. You know, that's gonna overall make a design look more tolerable even when you do something crazy. Like I have two colors here, really, not really different shaded and stuff, just straight up like gray and this dark reddish crimson, right? It's pretty simple and plain, but it helps when you are able to balance certain elements like that, because you know, realistically, nothing really has just like two colors like that. Even when you're wearing an outfit, there's different shades to your outfit. Like you might wear some red sneakers with a red shirt, right? And then wear some dark pants and then have a dark hat, but like your hat is really dark blue and your pants are black, but they're both dark enough to where they kind of balance each other out, but they're not exactly the same color. And then your shoelaces might be black on those red shoes and stuff, right? But then, you know, you have little different elements to your wardrobe that aren't exactly the same colors, which is like that. It gives a kind of diversity to your outfit, not intentionally, but just by the nature of how things exist. It just so happens that, you know, your outfit's not going to have fully just one or two sets of colors unless you really try to do that, you know. And so like in games like this, you can specifically do that, but you also have to take into consideration not making your characters look too plain by doing that. You know, you have to diversify it a bit with, or you can diversify it a bit by putting some other stuff in there. And so just having her upper body be cluttered with so much stuff, cluttered chest, and then, you know, giving her the shoulder pieces that aren't too much, they're big and they kind of fit with the clutter, right? Skull sacrifice, like heads of some big mystical beast that, you know, was probably killed, or just like demons from wherever she spawned from. The wings, the horns, all of her upper body is very heavy, right? Not heavy as in like they're tanky, but it's very heavy with stuff, which is why her legs are just plain. No shoes, no boots, just these little leg bracer things, and that's it, right? Her weapon, not very standoutish. It's just kind of just a regular ass spear. There's other spears I could have given her, but I chose to give her like a very archaic and basic, you know, early times type of spear, instead of one that is more like polished and opulent and stuff. And, you know, those are things, and that's just my perspective. You might look at it and think something completely different, but I think that's just how my brain works when trying to create stuff like this. You know, at the end of the day, I always want my characters to be appealing. You know, I think the idea is to make characters look good, especially in a fighting game. Like this, her body, the stuff she has on her serves no purpose other than to give you a certain feel while you're playing as a character. You know, be like, yeah, you want it to look good. That's it. That's what it's all about. And now we got Rika. Here's another character that I'm like giving bold colors. I wanted to make her look like a yokai. Well, you know, giving specific colors, like I want to play with this kind of pastel, chromish, pink and blue color. I've always enjoyed the pink and blue colors, because of Gambit, specifically Gambit in X-Men Legends. His colors and his explosions had this a way more saturated version of pink and blue than these colors are, but specifically those because of like his little kinetic or energy blast that he does with his explosions and his cards and stuff. And so I've always liked pink and blue next to each other because of that. So sometimes you'll see me just do that. I'll just do like a pink and blue motif in something. I don't really fully know what the inspiration for this character is, why I did it, other than the fact that I wanted to make kind of a yokai looking entity. That's it, for the sake of creating the character, I made her, and now she exists because of it. But also, once again, she's not really a character that like I reference or talk about or have given lore by creating her in other games. She's just kind of here, and that's it. And for tournament's sake, she exists, for the tournaments. So that's it. I'm going to end part 2 here. I'm just going to go row and row. So that's 5 characters in each row. That's 5, 10, 15, 20 that I've done already. So that's 40 more, 48 more left. Yeah, we'll end part 2 here.